Hi, my name is Nancy. Welcome back to our new season of the Property Show. And this is the show that will give you an in-depth look into the property market, offer you expert advice, current trends, tips, and professional information on the hottest properties available in the market. There is something for everyone. Our guest today is Mary Mulwa. Mary Mulwa is the CEO of NW Realite, and Mary Mulwa will be taking us through why we should appoint a property manager. How have you been?
I've been very fantastic.
Tell us about property management and why we should consider appointing property managers.
Property management is a business done by professionals who are trained in taking care of property, ranging from residential units, commercial units, industrial units, and even agricultural units.
Tell us more on the residential. Do you only deal with single dwelling, multiple dwelling, or who is your client?
We deal with single dwelling, multiple dwelling, and common area management, which is becoming increasingly important because of the development of apartments.
As a developer, what should I be looking at when I want to appoint a property manager?
It is important that you make sure that your property manager knows their staff very well. They are very well trained. They know everything about lease management and lease development, so that when they get your tenants and they put them onto a lease, then the tenants will be well managed in terms of the provisions of the lease. They should also be well versed with maintenance of buildings, because that's an area where we've seen quite a lot of problems in this country. And they should also be able to give you professional advice on best users and tenant mixes.
So do you get me the tenants, or who gets me the tenants?
The property manager should also be able to provide tenants for you. They should vet the tenants, give you the correct mix of tenants in commercial premises. They should also be able to advise you on the correct tenants to get even on residential properties.
Mary, at what point do I engage a property manager?
It's very important that a property manager is engaged from when you start thinking about developing a property, because most of the times, if you do not engage a property management, you might end up developing a property that will not sell. You might end up spending a lot of money and getting very little returns. It's a property manager who will advise you on the best return that you will get on a particular piece of land. So before you even think of developing, it's important to talk to a property manager.
If I'm building a single unit for rental, as opposed to a developer building multiple units or commercial space, will you still be able to advise me on that single unit?
Yes. In any kind of development, especially when you're thinking about rental, because of the whole issue of returns, you need to engage a property manager who will advise you whether you're getting the best user for the property that you have, and whether the returns will be up to the market or below market, where you will now be better informed to make a decision whether to develop or not to develop.
Wow. As a property manager and me as a developer, what services should I expect from you?
We take your building, if it is complete. We put your tenants, so we will advise on the tenant mix. We will get you the tenant. We will put them on leases. Thereafter, we manage the tenant, collect the rents, the service charge. We will also manage the fabric of the building, the infrastructure, the generators, the air conditioners, the lifts, maintenance of the buildings, the roofs, the floors, to make sure that the building is always at its best, and to make sure that you get good returns for your property and for your investment.
Do you also advise me on security?
Yes, we do. We have we work with security companies to provide security to the tenants and also to your building, so that at all times we are looking at a building that is safe, secure, and a good place for tenants to do their business or to live if it's a dwelling unit.
Which laws govern the property managers?
The basic law that governs most of the agents and also property manager is Estate Agents Act, Cap 532 of the laws of Kenya. It governs how an agent should engage with the principal. It also governs the fees that an agent will charge the principal. But also property management is also governed in the general contract laws, because when you engage a property manager, it's important to get a contract done that will govern your relationship with the property manager and spell out what they should do and should not do for you. And that basically is governed in the normal contract laws.
We have seen a lot of properties. You tell us as a property manager, you are managing me as a tenant.
Yes.
But when there is a problem, the developer or the landlord then does not agree with the property manager. Where do I get my recourse as a tenant?
It depends on what kind of a problem you are talking about, because even for the tenant, it is expressed in the tenancy agreements and the leases what the responsibilities of the tenants are and what the responsibilities of the landlords are. The challenge is we've found that a lot of tenants do not read the tenancy agreements that they sign and the leases that they sign. So when a problem arises and you're drawing their attention to the fact, like for example, you had told them that the insurance of their properties inside the building is their responsibility, but the insurance of the building is the responsibility of the landlord. They had not read that bit, and they are coming and telling you, look, then you need to compensate me for something that the tenant owns. Then that becomes a challenge.
What trends should we expect in the property sector going forward after these great elections?
I think we are going to have a very optimistic property sector. We will see a lot of aggressive developments coming up because everybody was holding back with a bated breath waiting for the election, and we are happy that we pulled it through with peace. So we expect that we will see a lot of developments shifting probably from the higher income ends to the middle and lower income ends, with the property costs of about 2 to 7 million, which is quite affordable to most middle income earners. We will also see a shift to holiday homes because of the government's policy on increasing tourism in this country. So we expect a lot of shift to tourist resorts, a lot of holiday homes, a lot of home tourism where you welcome the tourists to live with you in your home setting, and those kind of developments.
Are you seeing us being able to afford 1 million and below houses with the new technologies?
I think that is a possibility going to the future. We've seen people already starting to open up from the traditional brick and mortar. We've seen new developments coming up which are using stabilized blocks. We've seen National Housing saying that they are going to develop panels in their newly developed factory. We've also seen, especially like upcountry, a lot of construction coming up using stabilized block in the lower income sector. And we've also seen a lot of slabs now being cast using precast beams and hollow pots, which is a new development that has reduced cost. We should see this reduction in cost translated into the cost of property as the end product.
Let me go back to property management. What are your costs to hire a property manager?
In property management, costs are regulated by the Estate Agents Act, CAP 532, as we had talked about it before. And for residential property management, you're expected to pay 10% of the gross monthly collections. And in commercial, you're expected to pay 7.5% of the gross monthly collections. But in large developments, you're allowed to negotiate, but in residentials, you should not go below 5% of the monthly gross collections. And in commercial buildings, you should not go below 2.5% of the gross monthly collections.
Thank you so much, Mary, for your time and, of course, for telling us everything about property management. Give us your parting shots.
I would want to encourage all property developers to engage the services of property manager before they start thinking of development. This will help them to develop properties that are going to sell in the market and properties that will be able to fetch them the highest possible returns. Thank you.
Asante sana.
Property management is the work done by professionals who are trained in taking care of properties such as residential, commercial, retail, and industrial units. It is important to engage a property manager during the planning stage to get the best use of the property and what will sell. The services to expect from a property manager are advice on the tenant's mix, sourcing for the tenants, placement of the tenants on leases, managing of the tenants, collection of the rent and service charge, managing the infrastructure of the building, managing the maintenance of the building including all common and interior areas, and collaborating with service providers such as security firms, telecommunication providers, and cleaning companies. Property managers ensure the smooth day-to-day running of the building is always at its best, and the principal gets the best returns on investment. The Estate Agent Act governs all real estate agents and property managers. It also governs how the agent engages with the principal and the fees payable. Property management is also governed by the general contract laws. It is important to get a contract drawn when engaging a property manager. This contract will govern the relationship between the developer and property manager. The trends we are expecting in the real estate market are increased project developments, a shift from high income to lower income developments, and a shift to service departments, holiday homes, and tourist resorts due to the government policy in increasing tourism.